Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and North Korea is a stressful country. Now of course, before I begin here, I want to just bring up some facts from the Glowies, our friends over at the FBI, one of those corrupt groups by the way, but we'll get into that later. Ladies and gentlemen, they said avoid using free charging stations in airports, hotels, shopping centers. Bad actors have figured out a way to use public USB ports to introduce malware. I figured I might as well just mention this because I saw like 10 news articles today while I was on the toilet. So yeah, don't be plugging your phone into a random, USB port. Bring a power bank. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I figured I might as well get the good advice out of the day. North Korea has been launching nuclear weapons again. Not really. They've been launching ballistic missiles. If they had launched a nuclear weapon today, I guarantee you by the time I'm recording this video, they would have been invaded and Kim Jong-un would have been like dead. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, North Korea's basic thing is we're going to throw nukes until the world gets kind of annoyed by us and gives us food because we can't afford to feed our own people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great anxiety knowing that North Korea literally has keys to the VIP, and at any moment, nuclear Armageddon could hit and the world could end. Now, I used to be really scared about it, but to be honest with you, if the world ends, I just have a good day. Just have a good time. At the end of the day, my channel is all about having a good laugh, trying to make a stressful, anxiety-ridden world into a good old, have as much smiles as you can. Now, for anybody following into this situation, yesterday, Japan had triggered a emergency alert scenario. Now, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of emergency alert videos on the internet. And generally when this stuff happens, I'm always there to cover it because it's just fascinating to me. Now yesterday in Hokkaido, Japan had sent out a EAS warning. So this is what it looks like in Japan when you got like your TV filled up with all these error messages. And of course right here you can see the section known as Hokkaido, which is effectively where this missile was apparently supposed to land. Now to give you a quick on-the-ground idea, I got a video from abroad in Japan being rudely awoken by a North Korean missile. I want to listen to this one with you because it's pretty absurd.
I'm in bed, just went back to sleep. Phone went off again, alarm went off again. Now I'm really angry. The emergency alert said the missile flew overhead though, so I better look that up.
I love British people so much. They are so goddamn calm when it comes to, yeah, this is missile flying above me, but goddamn, I had to wake up in the middle of the night. Jesus Christ.
I was just woken up a third time, this time by the television switching itself on to report about the missile news. I didn't even know TVs could switch themselves on in Japan like that in emergencies. Probably makes sense, but it's so annoying, and now I've got to get out of bed and switch the TV off, for fuck's sake.
Never change, British people. God damn. A nuclear ballistic missile threat warning has been issued, and this guy's like, I gotta get out of the bed to turn the television off. I love these people. They're the ultimate Sigmas, no matter how you consider it. God damn. Now, if you ever looked at a map real quickly, you can see that North Korea right over here, Pyongyang, Hamhung, Wonsan, Sinpo, and Japan have this one big sea separating them. So obviously when missiles get fired around here, Japan is usually pissing and shitting themselves, wondering, God, please do not land on us. Sometimes those missiles, I guess, can choose to fly over, which is even scarier because it goes over their mainland. And again, Japan is like 1 day away pretty much from nuclear armament because, to be honest with you, if it's one thing North Korea is doing with all this stupid testing, is just pissing off the Japanese enough for them to be actually armed. And while the Japanese have laws against building nuclear weapons because of their history, don't be surprised if one day they may choose to bring an ICBM to counter old Kimmy because he just pushed them that far. So of course yesterday this alert basically flew around, and of course I can't read Japanese. I'm sure some of you can, but I know Google Translate absolutely can, so we're gonna put that up there. Information on civil protection. Evacuate immediately! Evacuate immediately! Again, I'm glad I don't live in Japan. My anxiety is bad enough. If I saw this shit again, I think I would probably have I would probably faint and just be dead. My thing is, listen, I'm already so scared of nuclear weapons in the post-apocalypse that, listen, if a bomb was falling right above my city, I'd be under it, okay? I'm going out incineration style. I'm not living in the post-apocalypse Walking Dead, world that we're gonna have. But anyways, immediately evacuate inside the building or underground. The missile is expected to fall around Hokkaido at 8 o'clock. Please evacuate immediately. So Hokkaido residents were again pissing and shitting themselves because from what I understand, while nuclear missile threats from North Korea are pretty common, the actual state of emergency and like these kind of alerts being sent out is actually not so common. So again, it turned out that people who were on the ground had actually listened to some of the air raid sirens going off. Listen to this. Yeah, you hear a siren like that, you're pretty much done, okay? At that moment, all right, it's almost like looking at a glimpse of the world ending. Now, I remember when I talked about missiles basically flying around, and you pretty much only have minutes before the impact happens. And this is something that I was looking into a while back when I was looking into like US-Russia nuke responses, and it's insane how like little time there is when a nuclear weapon gets fired out. I think the president of the US, if a missile is heading towards the country, they have like maybe minutes to actually have to sign off on a retaliation strike, which they pretty much have to because like if they're getting attacked, they're going to launch their whole thousands of warheads. And the way that I understand, because like the US, Russia, and China have like networks of submarines hidden around the world, because if they want to launch a nuke in Russia, they don't just fire it from US mainland. I believe they fired from a submarine that's just off the coast of Moscow. So like they literally have no time to respond. And that involves like MIRV warheads, which like go into the air and separate into like 8 different clusters and just attack multiple sections. It's really dangerous. Like the moment nukes go off, the world is pretty much done, okay? And you gotta understand, when two countries get involved with nukes, they pretty much launch their entire payload everywhere and kill everyone. Because at the end of the day, the world has come to an end when the nukes have launched. So you might as well just kill everybody you got a problem with because the world's ending anyways. So of course, when you look at stuff like this, obviously North Korea has always been testing its nuclear arsenal. And even just a few days ago, we were looking at North Korean malware and how they go after cryptocurrencies. And those cryptocurrencies directly finance this kind of behavior. It's not like Kim Jong-un is so focused on feeding their people. I mean, he's the only one eating pretty much if you had to look at North Korean demographics. But beyond that, he's more interested in setting up an army and paying off the elite and basically buying a few missiles just so he can flex some level of like superiority or some level of like strength to the other countries around them. And I don't think he gets it, but if you play with fire too long, eventually you're going to get burned. Like eventually you're going to piss off the few allies that you have, and when that's done, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in my lifetime the Kim dynasty comes to an end because they just ended up pissing off the Americans at some point, and they're just gonna like bring in the big guns. Now, the missile is being fired around Hokkaido, and if you had no idea about North Korea, you probably think that he was at a war with like Aquaman. But to look at the nuke map real quick, if you had to look at Hakodate, which is like the city that's like closest into the Hokkaido section, if you actually zoom in, and again, thank God to Nuke Map, basically adding extra anxiety to my already shitty like world as it is, you can basically look at a North Korean weapon that they tested in 2017, which was 150 kilotons of yield. And of course, if you look at the actual detonation, already 95,000 fatalities. And then you got like you got about 116,000 injuries on top of it. Now, this map is also interesting. So assuming that this is the center point that's hit, what you see in the yellow is the fireball radius, which is the maximum size of the nuclear fireball. Relevance to damage or the ground depends on the height of detonation. If it touches the ground, the amount of radioactive fallout is significantly increased. Anything inside the fireball is effectively vaporized. You're dead, okay? Like, you don't even feel it, okay? Before the missile drops, you're already dead, okay? Like, this is the most painless fucking way to go. Then, of course, you got the green section, which is 500 rem ionizing radiation dose, likely fatal in about 1 month. 15% of survivors will eventually die of cancer. Now, you gotta understand, dying of radiation is painful, okay? It's probably one of the most painful things you'll ever have to go through. Your cells are effectively committing all forms of, like, apoptosis within themselves. Your body is gone, okay? You know, if you, at that moment, you know how in Fallout you see, like, the nuke counter going up? Like, you get a little bit of rads going on? This one immediately goes from one end all the way to the goddamn extreme end. If you don't turn into a ghoul with 4 arms before you die, I would be shocked. Then, of course, you've got the moderate blast damage radius, which, if you zoom out a little bit, effectively covers this chunk of the city. Now, of course, at 5 psi overpressure, most residential buildings collapse. Injuries are universal, fatalities are widespread. And of course, you got the thermal radiation radius, which, again, third-degree burns extend throughout the layers of the skin. You know, when a nuke drops, there's a firewall that spreads out, and that firewall will effectively, again, vaporize and burn you until you're nothing. It's why when, like, you ever see the Fallout meme where the guy's, like, pointing with his thumb out? Effectively, if his thumb is, like, bigger than the actual, like, mushroom cloud I heard, it's a sign that tells them that they're exposed to radiation right there and then. But again, the fireball is bad. Effectively, when a bomb drops, you have, I think, maybe like a couple seconds before the firewall starts rushing towards you. If you're not out of the radiation, you're burning to a crisp, okay? It's like Terminator 2, when Sarah Connor in the beginning is like burning as she's holding on to like the chain link fence. Then, of course, you got the light blast radius, which is all the way around the city. I mean, this is just your standard explosion. Basically, you have to be all the way out here by Inari's shrine if you're going to try to avoid any effect of this bomb. And even then, that's not accurate. You're still getting hurt. Point is, nuclear weapons are scary. And when North Korea has them, and they have the mentality of a fucking, like, 4th grader, it's probably something you gotta keep checks on. Now, of course, you know, ladies and gentlemen, misinformation is a scary thing in today's day and age. And it seems like all of this may have, in fact, been some misinformation. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, according to, like, what happened in South Korea, millions of people received a J alert, an evacuation order, shortly before 8 a.m., what we just saw earlier, urging them to seek shelter as the missile could land. But soon after, fear turned into anger and confusion as the evacuation order was lifted amid reports that it had been sent in error. Come on. See, this is why I wouldn't be able to live in a country like this, okay? Just imagine being sent a ballistic missile warning, and then it turns out, well, we sent that out in error. Bro, this is not like a weather amber alert warning. This is some serious, like, world-ending shit warning that you're sending out. It reminded me of like this one event that happened in 2018 in Hawaii where they actually sent out a false missile alert. This is an alert that people had gotten in January 13, 2018. Emergency alert, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Bro, if I read that, it's over. I'm done, dude. I'm under the missile, okay? Because I ain't living in the post-apocalypse. That shit is scary. It turns out this was accidentally issued via the emergency alert system. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you were somebody in this country, you would be rightfully goddamn pissed at the government for issuing this shit for no real reason. Now, of course, it turned out that it was an error because local officials said there was no possibility of the missile hitting the island. And Tokyo later confirmed it had fallen outside Japanese territories, in waters off the east coast of the Korean peninsula, that like Sea of Japan area that I was showing you. Yeah. So, of course, I think a lot of this is North Korea trying to test their missile capabilities. What's really scary is some people are like, could a missile from North Korea even reach the United States? And while I don't believe it's possible yet, I think there is some research into like if they actually wanted to launch a missile to the west coast of the US, it would take them like 33 minutes to actually impact. Now, of course, the United States has like a response to this, like they'll scramble the jets and try to stop it in midair. But of course, again, it's not really easy. The real scary aspect of it is like our allies in South Korea and Japan are usually the ones that are going to be targeted the most. You know, to attack and nuke Japan again is like basically declaring a war between both of the largest superpowers in the world. And again, when that happens, the world has come to a conclusive end. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we live in a computer simulation, okay? And one day I think God, or whoever is just bored out of their mind above, is loading up the SimCity list of scenarios and just hovering over that nuke button. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, if that's true, we're all but lowly, tiny artificial intelligence. And all we can really do is just have a good time, laugh, and enjoy the world before it all goes up in embers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess moral of the story is, we live in a scary goddamn world, and sometimes the governments around us love to fuck with us in any capacity. This alert going out today absolutely freaked out the entire world, not just the Japanese. And when it turns out it was false, I'm sure the Japanese are rightfully pissed, as is the rest of the world. But you know what? It's just another grim reminder at how fragile life really is. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't be really afraid. The world could end at any given moment. But if you spend every day making sure the people around you are happy, you're happy, and you smile, and you take it on the chin, and you try to live every day like it's pretty much your last, because who knows? It could be. Then you're going to have a good quality of life. Smile, live happy, eat right, be close to the ones you love. Because the world will end one day. It's up to you to enjoy your time here before the ever end comes at us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's enough from me. Hope you're having a great day. I had anxiety running through me, and I need these videos like they're therapy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am